A question I am frequently asked is how do I manage my deadline dates or due dates with my tasks' start dates? Because if you think about it, in order for you to hit the deadline or due date, you're going to have to do work before the deadline or due date. Hopefully that makes sense. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how I manage these two by separating them completely. Let me show you how. Okay, so what I have in my inbox right now is a task that is pretty close to a task that I have right now in my real Todoist. Now I'm using Todoist, but I should point out you can do this with pretty much any task manager. So what I've got right here is I've got collect all outstanding info for publisher. Now there are actually 4 items I need to send to my publisher. I've got to send a short bio, a cover picture, an inside cover picture which is different, and the keywords I want to use for the book. So there's 4 pieces of information that I need to gather together. Now this has got a deadline of Friday. Now the thing is, theoretically I could do this on Friday morning, but let's just say to write the short bio is going to take me a while, to get the cover picture, and let's just imagine it's going to take me a few days to collect all this information together. Right, so what I'm going to do is, now the way that I operate is this needs to be given a due date. So let's say I'm going to start this tomorrow, so it's given a due date. Now the thing is, I'm not going to give my subtasks in this situation a due date simply because I don't know when I'm going to do it, and this just is a trigger for me to do this during my admin time. So that's all done, I can close that, that's fine. Okay, now how do I know when the deadline is? Because in Todoist at the moment I only have one date I can use, which is perfectly okay. Now there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can actually put in the description like deadline. And what I usually do, in the past when I did this, I'd put deadline in capital letters and then colon and then the actual date. Now I believe the date for this is going to be Friday. So Wednesday is the 13th, 14th, and the 15th of December 2023. Now that's one way I can do it in Todoist. Now when I close that, that means that the deadline is always there. It's always showing. Now another thing you can do, by the way, in Todoist is if I highlight that, I can actually bold that and then save. Again, so when this comes up in a list, it's sort of standing out, deadline 15th of December. Now that's what I used to do in the past for time sensitive tasks. However, one of the things that I realized is the one thing that I am looking at every single day is my calendar. And with calendar, the reminders that I get on my phone and indeed my computer are things that I cannot miss. I mean, I get an alert like ding, and it lights up my screen on my iPad. There's no way I can miss a reminder on my calendar. Now, theoretically, I suppose I could do this with my task manager, but then I'm just going to get tons of tasks coming through and I've got to put times in. It's just horrendous. This way I can control what is the critical information that I need to see each day. So what I'm going to do is going to open my calendar. Now to save time, I pre-prepared this. So what you'll see now with my calendar is there are 2 things that I do. I'm just going to close the sidebar so you can see this a bit better. So what you'll notice is along the top, I have like a color code. Now, for me, the color codes are critical deadlines. So Monday is I post my podcast. I've got to send out my learning note on Wednesday, post the blog post. I post this YouTube video on Thursday. You can test me out by checking the date that this was posted, and outstanding information to fill. So this is the information for the publisher. So I've got this as a deadline. Whenever I see that, it's going to be a deadline. Now, one thing I should point out, inside here, you'll notice that I've set the alert for 2 days before at 9 a.m. Now, let's go back to my calendar and look what I'm doing at 9 a.m. I always have a 30-minute break before I start my work. Now, theoretically, okay, with coaching calls, that's fixed because there's another person involved, or in your case, that might be a meeting. But if you notice here, I don't generally have to start my writing until 9:30. Now, theoretically, I start sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes I start a little later. But within that first couple of hours on a Monday of my working time, That's when I do my writing time. But I have this gap right here, this 30-minute gap. So when I finish my morning routines, which is basically writing my journal and clearing my email inbox, my iPad is going to light up, my computer is going to light up, and my phone is going to go ding, and it's going to give me all these things that I've got to do. Now, so this one is going to come up on Wednesday because I've set this up for 2 days before. This means if I've completely forgotten about this task, this work that I've got to do for my publisher, it doesn't matter. I am going to get a reminder on Wednesday to tell me that the due date is in 2 days. This means that if I've completely forgotten about it, I can renegotiate some of these items I have already on my calendar in order to get the time. Now, the thing is, I also, with things like my YouTube video, I am recording this now. If you notice on my calendar, I will be editing it this afternoon or this evening. So this is only going to give me an alert on the day it's due to be posted. So on day of alert, again at 9 a.m. All my deadline notifications are coming up at 9 a.m. It means that it's almost like now a habit. Even if I don't see the alert, I will check to see what are my deadlines and when do I need to know about them. So these are the kind of things that I put in here. I also put like my car payment. So any payments that are going out on a regular basis, like you may have a mortgage payment going out, or you may have to pay your credit card. Again, you can put in here, with my payments, I actually put on the day before because sometimes I haven't quite got enough money in the account that I need, that the money goes from, and I can do some transfer. I've got 24 hours to do the transfer. So I'm not going, oh, I've forgotten. I do get the alert the day before just to give me a heads up. And this is a far, far better way than trying to do this in your task manager. You see, tasks should be the things that you can do at any time in the day, whatever. So if you look at my day today, for example, I've got 10 tasks. Write this podcast. This is my demo account, but write this podcast script. Well, it doesn't matter if I write that at 9:30 this morning or 3 o'clock this afternoon, as long as I write it today. Same with the coaching feedback. I write feedback after every coaching call for my clients. It doesn't matter whether I do that at, 8:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or 6:30 in the evening. The only thing that matters to me is I do it today. That's all that matters. That's how a task manager is supposed to operate. However, if something needs to be done at a specific time on a specific date, then it goes in your calendar. This is like the rock. This is the one place that you cannot ignore. If I go back to, I've accidentally created a task. I always make a mistake in every video, but I do keep them in. If I go back to my task manager here, a lot of this really doesn't matter if I do it today. If I don't write the podcast script, it doesn't matter. I can write it tomorrow or the day after. If I don't write coaching feedback today, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not on a timeline for getting them out. I just like to stay on top of them. Equally, writing this week's learning note. If I don't do it today, it's not a problem. Although there is a problem in that it goes out tomorrow anyway. So either I write it today or I'm writing it tomorrow morning. There is a tight line. That's how task managers should operate. The calendar is the non-negotiable area. You do not negotiate with your calendar unless you absolutely have to. And the way that I've got all this set up means that I know at the beginning of every single week, I know when my deadlines are for that week. I also know that if I follow my calendar, I have sufficient time to get all my work done. If I don't follow my calendar, I don't get all my work done, and who's to blame? I can only blame myself because I allowed something to stop me from doing what I'd already planned to do that week. That's on me. That was me who made that decision. Okay, you could say, but my boss told me I had to attend this meeting. Fine, but you still said yes. You didn't try and negotiate. If you look at my calendar right here, and this is going off subject a little bit. Let's say I've got my communication time at 4 o'clock and my boss says, can we have a meeting at 4 o'clock? I'll go, maybe not 4 o'clock. Can we do it at 5? If my boss says, no, it must be done at 4 o'clock, then okay, I switch round and do my communication at 5. I could choose not to do the communication, but then theoretically, that means tomorrow I'm going to have to spend 2 hours on communication. And I don't know about you, but spending 2 hours on email and messages is not my idea of fun. So there you go. This is how I manage my start dates and my due dates. If you like, I'm going to be starting getting this information together. Let's go back to my inbox. I'm going to start getting this information together tomorrow. It's right there. And I'm just going to be opening up that and I'm going to say, oh, I can write my short bio. Actually, I already have that. Cover picture, it's a matter of selecting the pictures. Inside cover picture, same thing. And the keywords just need some thinking about. So actually, when I look at this, it's not a huge task. These can be done though at any time in the day. The only thing I need to know about this task is which day am I going to start getting the information together and when is the deadline? And the deadline is on Friday. So right now being Tuesday, I've got plenty of time to get that information together. So there you go. It keeps the overwhelm down to a minimum. It doesn't complicate and make your task manager overly complex. And for those of you using Apple OS, Mac OS Sonoma, you've actually got your calendar widget down at the bottom. And as you can see, today, being Tuesday the 12th, I actually have my daily, like if you say it's a day off today, it's right there at the top. Now, tomorrow it says 3 all-day events. I can't see them now, but tomorrow, when I come to this, I will see it's always on my dashboard, if you like, on my desktop. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to learn more about how I use time blocking, then this video up here is the next one I recommend you watch.